Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 3rd of July 2025 and the prices of Bitcoin on the global cryptocurrency market has definitely bumped up, and the answer to this is pretty simple guys. Most likely tomorrow, that is 4th of July, President Donald Trump will be signing the one beautiful bill, and if that thing happens guys, the US economy is definitely going to be pumping up. And as I mentioned in the episode that I released yesterday guys, when the US economy is doing great, it does have a positive impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and I'm pretty much sure a lot of high net worthy individuals, traders, as well as businesses are definitely anticipating that, and because of that, looks like the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are definitely heading towards the moon. And who's to say guys, there is a very high possibility that tomorrow Bitcoin might actually reach a new all-time high as well. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, at least for the next 48 hours, keep a track of the 24-hour trading volume, particularly of Bitcoin, as well as look at any geopolitical news. Now talking about United States of America guys, Ripple is a software company, isn't it? And they have finally decided to go ahead and apply for a US banking license. So in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. Now according to me guys, Ripple going ahead and applying for a banking license does make a lot of sense because they are a centralized entity and they don't use blockchain technology as such, isn't it? So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss this. And the big question is Ripple actually following the footsteps of Circle? Because Circle, the issuers of USDC, they did actually make a similar move, isn't it? So we'll definitely go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. Now the second news guys is connected to stablecoin, and this is connected to Europe, and Euro stablecoins guys is currently in works by Deutsche Bank and DWS. And yesterday guys, in the Blockchain DXB podcast, I did actually talk about Deutsche Bank. They were offering custodial services to the customers, isn't it? Now in today's episode, we'll go ahead and discuss their move in the world of stablecoins. Now look guys, I cannot stress this enough. When you talk about stablecoins, they definitely do not follow the ethos of open blockchain. And if you're a cypherpunk and do believe in the promise of Bitcoin guys, you should definitely not be advocating stablecoins as such. Looks like 2025, the whole narrative is regarding stablecoins and tokenization. But nonetheless guys, in today's episode, we'll definitely go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. Now the next news guys is a bit of a tricky one. Because what happened is that the US Security and Exchange Commission, they did actually approve Grayscale's altcoin ETF. But after a few hours, they did actually decide to go ahead and hold the operation. And there are two Bloomberg analysts I'd really recommend you guys to follow. The first one is Eric Balkanis, and the second one is James Seffart. And I'm pretty much sure guys, there will be further updates to this in the next 24 to 48 hours, but nonetheless in today's episode, I'll go ahead and discuss what is the move by your Security and Exchange Commission to go ahead and pause the approval of Grayscale ETF, and this directly has an impact on Bitcoin, Ethereum as well as altcoins such as Solana, Cardano and even XRP as well. Now the final news guys is once again connected to tokenization, and JP Morgan and S&P Global guys, they want to go ahead and tokenize carbon credits. So look guys, the tokenization narrative is definitely picking up pace, particularly in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space. So we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into this. As a matter of fact guys, one of the news that I'm going to be talking about that is connected to Dubai, UAE and the Middle East is also connected to tokenization. And the news essentially guys is that the Security and Commodity Authority, they have announced a new legislation. And this new legislation is titled Regulation Token Securities and Tokenized Commodity Contracts. So in today's episode, I'll go ahead and break down what this new legislation is all about. And probably in the last week of this month, guys, I do want to have a series on tokenization. And that particular session will be an in-person session as well as online as well. And I'll definitely be covering Security and Commodities Authority's new legislation at the event. Now the second news, guys, is a really interesting one. And this is an acquisition news. And Zodiac Custody, guys, they are aggressively expanding in United Arab Emirates, and they have strategically acquired Tungsten Custody, and Tungsten Custody's LinkedIn profile has immediately changed as well. So definitely interesting news, isn't it? So we've got a lot of interesting things to cover guys in today's episode. Let's kickstart with it right away. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the Blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They are taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they are focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet, and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform. Check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now, since the last 24 hours, guys, the prices of Bitcoin in the global cryptocurrency market is definitely off the chart, and there is a very high possibility in the next 24 hours, the price of Bitcoin alone might actually cross the $110,000 mark. Now, at a geopolitical level, guys, things are definitely heading towards world peace, and President Donald Trump did actually tweet via Truth Social that there is a very high possibility of ceasefire between Israel and Gaza as well. And not only that, guys, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they did actually post the economic data, and for the very first time, the jobs market is pumped up and there are 140,000 new jobs added in the US economy. So look, guys, whether you like President Donald Trump or not, his policies are definitely working, and a lot of people were alleging that tariffs will definitely be increasing the inflation. Now those can be easily considered as fake news, because after tariffs getting implemented, guys, inflation has been consistently going down for the last 3 months, and news such as this directly impacts the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, what is really interesting to note since the last 24 hours, guys, the ETF inflows have definitely increased, and today it is at a staggering $452.8 million. And if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, right now it is at $3.44 trillion, and since the last 24 hours, it is actually up by 4.22%. And if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume since the last 24 hours, guys, it is currently at $118.79 billion, and since the last 24 hours, it is actually up by 18.02%. Now, unfortunately, guys, the volume of decentralized exchanges hasn't pumped up a lot, and since the last 24 hours, it is only at $13.65 billion. And decentralized finance as of today is accounting for roughly 9.36% of the total cryptocurrency market volume. And if you look at the total value locked for decentralized finance, guys, today it is at $115.08 billion. Now, one matrix which I personally keep an eye on, that is decentralized exchange dominance, today it is at 40.83%. Now look, guys, 40% and above is definitely great, but you also need to factor a lot of centralized exchanges. They are also using a lot of decentralized exchanges, and truth be told, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if centralized exchanges volume does actually account for 30%, maybe even 35% to be completely honest. So we definitely need to think about those numbers as well. Now, since the last 2 months, I'm also looking at the total value locked that is connected to real world assets, and today, guys, that amount is $12.81 billion. And I have to say, guys, the total value locked connected to real world assets has been consistent since the last 2 months, irrespective of geopolitical chaos or despite the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies pumping or going down. And this is purely because of the narrative right now in the cryptocurrency space, isn't it? Now let's quickly run to the volume of decentralized exchanges. Now the number one is PancakeSwap, but the volume, guys, isn't that great. It is only at $6.54 billion, whereas Uniswap's volume since the last 24 hours has gone down, and today it is below the $2 billion mark. It is only at $1.73 billion. Radium, guys, is at number 3rd, and the 24-hour volume is $692.45 million. Aerodrome is at number 4th, and its 24-hour volume is $517.99 million. Meteor, guys, is at number 5th, and its 24-hour volume is $449.39 million. Now let's do one thing, guys. Let's look at some numbers connected to the world of stablecoins, because so far stablecoins is concerned, they are the driving force of the cryptocurrency world, isn't it? And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, guys, stablecoins, according to me, definitely do not follow the ethos of open blockchain. And with the Genius Act being approved, there is a very high possibility a lot of banking industries, they will be offering stablecoins. And according to me, I've always said this, a lot of stablecoin issuers are literally replacing the role of a bank. So at a philosophical level, guys, I'd definitely like to see a push towards algorithmically backed stablecoin. But Genius Act definitely does not allow that. Along with that, guys, Dubai's VARA, that is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, they have said a massive big fat no to algorithmically backed stablecoin, which according to me does not make absolutely any sense, because when you talk about Bitcoin's innovation, guys, the whole idea was peer-to-peer payments, isn't it? Now, algorithmically backed stablecoins does actually work on the principle of peer-to-peer stablecoins, but because of the collapse of Terra Luna, no one wants to get involved, particularly regulators in the world of algorithmically backed stablecoin. But look, guys, I really like to see one of the leading regulators taking a positive stance regarding algorithmically backed stablecoin, and that, according to me, is a blue ocean right now. Now let's quickly run to the market cap, 24-hour trading volume, as well as the dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Bitcoin's market cap right now is at $2.16 trillion, and so far as Ethereum's market cap is concerned, today it is pumped up and it is well over the $300 billion mark. It is shot up to $309 billion. And if you look at the 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin, today it is at $56.27 billion, whereas Ethereum is at $22.51 billion. Now, because the prices of Bitcoin is increasing, guys, there is a positive impact on the dominance as well. And today the dominance of Bitcoin is at 62.80%, whereas Ethereum's dominance has pumped up, and today it is almost at 9%, 8.99%. Now, since the last 2 weeks, guys, I'm looking at decentralized apps matrix, isn't it? And we look at the top 5 decentralized apps that are working only on Ethereum. We looked only at Solana. And in yesterday's episode, we looked at the top 5 decentralized apps working on Cardano blockchain. But today, guys, I want to go and look at the top 5 decentralized apps that are currently working on Hedera. Now, you should know that Hedera is not using blockchain technology as such. They use something called as Gossip Protocol. And Hedera has definitely been making quite a lot of news, particularly with government organizations. And at one point of time, guys, going back to 2017 and 18, Hedera was an active competitor to be an Ethereum killer. Unfortunately, guys, if you look at the top 5 decentralized apps, some of the numbers are outright scary, and you wouldn't believe if I told you how low the numbers actually are. So what I'd really recommend you to do is go to dappradar.com and sort it based on different blockchains. And if you look at the top 5 decentralized apps under Hedera, guys, you can sort it based on unique active wallet interactions, and you can also sort it based on dollar value. So what I'm essentially looking at, guys, is the fiat value of incoming token transfers from unique active wallets to smart contracts, and essentially at a broader level it gives an idea as to what is the dollar value of that particular decentralized app. And trust me, guys, the numbers are outright scary. Now the first one isn't that bad, and the number one decentralized app in Hedera is $14.42 million. The second one, guys, is Pangolian Exchange, and in terms of fiat value of incoming token transfers from unique active wallets to smart contracts, it is at $12,030. Now check out the third one, guys. The third one is HeliSwap, and in terms of dollar amount, it is only at $129. The fourth one is Fintechs, and in terms of dollar amount, guys, it is only at $25.26. But the craziest thing is the fifth one, that is Circle of Games, and in terms of dollar amount, it is only at $3.13. So think of it, guys. The fifth most decentralized app working on Hedera in terms of dollar amount, it is only at $3.13. And I cannot stress this enough, guys. I'm looking at the fiat value of incoming token transfers from unique active wallets to the smart contracts. Now there is a very high possibility Circle of Games has not been launched yet, but even then this number is absolutely dreadful, isn't it? Considering the fact that the top fifth on Ethereum is in millions of dollars, so the numbers are definitely not making a lot of sense. But these are the crazy numbers of cryptocurrency and blockchain world, in my honest opinion. Now, guys, let's go and look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. And the price of Bitcoin right now is at $108,859. And I'm pretty much sure, guys, tomorrow being the 4th of July, President Donald Trump most likely will be signing the One Beautiful Bill. And because of that news, guys, there will be a direct impact on the prices of stock market as well as the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow, let's say, if the price of Bitcoin does actually reach a new all-time high. But look, guys, whatever I'm saying is definitely not financial advice, and make sure you go and do your own research. Now, since the last 24 hours, the price of Bitcoin is up by almost 3%, 2.57% to be precise. But since the last 7 days, it is actually down by almost 1%, 0.93% to be precise. Ethereum looks like it has pumped up the most, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 5.72%, and the price of Ethereum is at $2,567. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 3.52%. Ripple XRP is at $2.24, and since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2.99%, and since the last 7 days, it is actually up by 2.60%. Now, regarding Ripple, guys, there's a lot of activity going on, particularly in the world of stablecoin, that is XRPL. And just a few days ago, I talked about the XRPL ledger, which is connected to Ethereum virtual machine sidechain, isn't it? So it looks like Ripple is definitely making some bold moves. But look, this next news might actually be one of the biggest bold move by Ripple. Now what happened is that 48 hours ago, Wall Street Journal did actually post that Ripple has applied for a national banking license, but a lot of them were not sure about it, because what Wall Street Journal were actually saying is that Ripple wants to join the rush of cryptocurrency companies seeking to cross the divide into mainstream finance, and there was a bit of skepticism regarding this news. However, guys, the CEO of Ripple, that is Brad Garlinghouse, did actually confirm that this news is absolutely true. And YRX did actually state, if this banking license is approved, guys, they would have both the State of New York Department of Financial Services as well as Federal Reserve oversight. And according to the tweet or X, he did actually state that this might actually be a new benchmark for the trust and stablecoin market. And earlier this week, our Standard Custody and Trust Company, they also applied for a Federal Reserve Board master account. So look, guys, when you talk about big companies issuing stable coins, they are literally replacing the role of a bank, according to me, in my honest opinion. And the big question is, does Ripple even use blockchain technology? And the answer to that is big fat no, isn't it? Because they work on something similar to a distributed ledger, and there is no proof of work or proof of authority or any other mechanisms as such. But look, news such as this might actually sound bullish, and it does pump up the price of Ripple or XRP. But look, guys, at a philosophical level, news such as this is definitely taking away from why Bitcoin was created in the first place, isn't it? And as I mentioned earlier, guys, Ripple does not use blockchain technology as such, And when you talk about stablecoin issuers, according to me, they're literally replacing the role of a bank. But nonetheless, guys, this news is definitely bullish for the price of Ripple or XRP. And roughly around a month ago, they did actually go and launch an XRP ETF in another country as well, isn't it? So Ripple Army is definitely excited regarding this news. Now guys, let's go and discuss some drama in the world of Grayscale ETF. And what happened, guys, is the US Security and Exchange Commission, they did initially approve the Grayscale ETF. However, guys, they immediately paused the approval of Grayscale ETF, and this pause is indefinite. Now, initially, the Grayscale ETF conversion was for its digital large cap fund, also called as GDLC, and that included Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as all coins like XRP, Solana, and Cardano. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, I'm pretty much sure the next 24 to 48 hours, we might be getting some more information, but it's important to understand while the SEC did actually fast-track the ETF application, it also simultaneously issued a stay, delaying its effect without explanation, and Bloomberg analyst Eric Balcones, guys, does actually believe that the SEC may be finalizing a broader framework for all coin ETFs, and it is holding it off until clear guidelines are in place. Now, despite the delay, guys, James Safat, who's another Bloomberg analyst, he remains confident that all coin ETFs, including Solana and XRP ETF, will likely be approved by the end of 2025. So look, guys, in the world of ETFs, Eric Balcones and James Safat are the best person to connect, and the details regarding the Twitter X account is in the show notes below. Now let's go ahead and discuss the next two news. Now the first news is connected to stablecoin and Deutsche Bank and DWS, guys. They are in partnership with Galaxy Digital, and they have secured a BaFin approval to launch a new stablecoin, and the ticker symbol is EURAU, which is a MiCA compliant Euro stablecoin. Now this will be under joint venture for Unity. Now look, guys, what makes this stablecoin interesting is it will offer institutional grade proof of reserves, and they aim to integrate with regulated institutions, fintechs, and corporate treasuries. And this, guys, in the world of stablecoins, marks a major step as Europe becomes a key battleground in stablecoin race, especially after MiCA's full implementation, isn't it? So things are definitely looking promising in the world of stablecoins, particularly in Europe. But look, guys, while compliant options like EURC and USDT gain traction, Tether, which is the leading issuer of stablecoin, they are facing heavy delisting across Europe due to non-compliance. And look, me personally, I'm not a fan of Tether USDT, guys, because their audit reports are absolutely funny and ridiculous, and they have actually hired a firm from Italy to go out and do the audit report, and they don't even publish an audit report. They often publish something called as a attestation report, and since the last few years I've always said this, the biggest black swan event in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space might or potentially could be Tether, but I'm definitely hoping that thing does not happen, because Tether going belly up, guys, will have a massive impact in the world of cryptocurrency and the whole trust element of blockchain technology as such, and who should say it might actually impact the price of Bitcoin in an absolutely negative way as well. So that is my honest opinion regarding Tether USDT. Now let's go ahead and talk about the next narrative, that is the world of tokenization. But this news, guys, is more connected to tokenization of carbon credits and Kinexys, guys, which is a project by JP Morgan. They have advanced new blockchain application development for carbon markets, and they're doing that with S&P Global Commodity Insights, Eco Registry, and International Carbon Registry as well. And this initiative, guys, follows Kinexys' new release research paper exploring blockchain technology's potential to enhance trust, traceability, and interoperability across carbon markets. Now, initial testing focuses on project and credit lifecycle management, technical connectivity, and data compatibility. And stakeholders, guys, are emphasizing the role of tokenization in scaling the VCM, thereby enabling seamless settlement and increased market confidence. And S&P Global may also include Meta's registry in future tests, potentially expanding carbon market infrastructure to financial market. So definitely powerful news, isn't it? Now towards the last week of July, guys, I will be having an event on tokenization. Now if you do want to collaborate on the tokenization event or want to go ahead and sponsor the session, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. So these were the news, guys, on the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and even tokenization. Now let's go ahead and look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. Now the first news, guys, is definitely a massive news, and this is connected to Security and Commodity Authority. And they announced a new legislation titled Regulating Token Securities and Tokenized Commodity Contracts. So let me go ahead and give out more information regarding this, because the legislation aims to regulate token securities and tokenized commodity contracts in the United Arab Emirates, and it ensures transparency, investor protection, as well as integration of blockchain and digital assets into financial system. Now look, guys, token securities are digital representation of traditional securities that are issued and traded via DLT, that is distributed ledger technology, isn't it? And token commodity contracts are essentially contracts with commodities as underlying assets represented digitally through the token. So this particular regulations, guys, applies to all offerings, issuance, and tradings of token securities and commodity contracts in the United Arab Emirates, and entities involved in token-related financial activities must be licensed by the Security and Commodity Act, by the Security and Commodity Authority, and issuers and platforms must register and obtain authorization from the SEC, and issuers and platforms, guys, must register and obtain authorization from the Security and Commodity Authority, and service providers and trading platform license and custodians must also be licensed from Security and Commodity Authority. Now regarding the licensing, guys, it is based on technical capability, capital adequacy and risk management criteria, and the token security offering, guys, requires a prospectus or disclosure document approved by the SEC, and issuers must provide clear and updated information on rights and obligation of token holders. And regarding AML and CFTC, guys, measures must be in place for all offerings. And this begs this question, guys: what happens, let's say, if the token does not comply with AML and CFTC? Do these transactions get cancelled? If they do not follow the ethos of open blockchain, isn't it? But nonetheless, guys, so far as rules and regulations are concerned, every individual should definitely be following it. Now, the new legislation also states that new platforms must follow strict cybersecurity and operational resilience standards, and they must maintain transparency in listing, trading, as well as settlement of tokens, and investor funds and assets must always be kept separate and safeguarded, and licensed custodians are required to implement secure storage and recovery systems, and clients retain legal ownership of the digital assets even when held by custodians, and issuers and platforms, guys, must establish proper governance frameworks as well. And the new legislation makes it absolutely clear that regular reporting to the security commodity is mandatory, including audit and risk assessment, and violations can lead to suspension, license revocation or financial penalties, and investors, guys, must be clearly informed of risk associated with token investments, and investor rights such as voting or dividend entitlements must be preserved, and existing market participants are given a grace period to comply with the new rules as well. And finally, guys, the Security Commodity Authority will update the framework as needed to align with global standards in evolving markets. So definitely interesting news, particularly in the world of tokenization, isn't it? So what I'd really urge you to do is, guys, go to the show notes below and go ahead and download the official document. It is roughly around 17 pages, and it is best if you go ahead and consult with a lawyer as well, isn't it? Now let's go ahead and discuss some interesting news. And Zodiac Custody, guys, they are aggressively expanding in the United Arab Emirates, and they're doing that with the strategic acquisition of Tungsten Custody. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, Tungsten Custody's LinkedIn profile has changed to reflect that as well. Now regarding Tungsten, guys, it is a regulated digital asset custodian in the United Arab Emirates. Now this particular acquisition strengthens Zodiac's position as a global institutional-grade custody platform, and it does mark a significant milestone in Zodiac's international expansion strategy. And this particular move, guys, reflects increasing institutional interest in digital asset infrastructure, and this acquisition enhances Zodiac's operational presence in the Middle East. Now look, as it is needless to say that the United Arab Emirates is fastly becoming a major hub for digital asset innovation and regulation, isn't it? And regarding Tungsten, it is licensed under the Abu Dhabi Global Market as well. And Abu Dhabi Global Market is globally recognized for its rigorous regulatory standards and digital finance. And regarding Zodiac's custody acquisition, guys, it does bring Zodiac under the regulatory oversight of Financial Services Regulatory Authority as well. And Zodiac aims to build a compliant, secure and scalable global custody network. Now this particular deal of acquisition of Tungsten Custody will unlock new opportunities for collaboration as well as revenue generation, isn't it? And Zodiac looks to replicate this model in other key global markets. And Dominic Longman, guys, who's a global head of markets at Zodiac, reaffirmed the firm's commitment to the United Arab Emirates, and he did praise the UAE's regulatory leadership in collaborative market environments. And if you look at it, guys, this acquisition also supports UAE's ambition to become a global digital asset leader as well, isn't it? And both firms believe in the future of compliant, borderless digital finance as well. Now regarding this deal, it is expected to accelerate regional adoption of secure custody infrastructure as well. And Zodiac, according to me, is now better positioned to serve clients seeking regulated custody in the United Arab Emirates. So this partnership, guys, does signal a strong convergence between global fintech and UAE regulations. So definitely brilliant news. So these were the newscasts on the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Ivan who asks, would you trust Ripple-backed stablecoin if it is federally regulated? Now look, Ivan, the answer to that is a big fat yes. Despite me not liking stablecoins, if you were to ask me a question, do I trust them? The answer to that is a 100% yes. Because look, Ivan, you need to understand the question is completely different. The first part of your question can be answered if Ripple is backed by stablecoin. If Ripple-backed stablecoin is federally regulated, would I trust it? The answer to that should be yes. Because look, despite stablecoin issuers literally replacing the role of a bank, you do require legislations and places in it because there needs to be audit and transparency. And by them being regulated, it just means that there is a government entity that will go after them if they do not follow any regulations. Now, when you talk about audit, rather than having a government entity regulate them, or let's say a third party regulate it, I'd really like to see the audit to be done completely open source, and everyone in the world should be in a position to go and validate it. Will they do that? I really am not sure. But look, one of the game changers Ripple or any of the stablecoin issuers can do is they can voluntarily make the audit completely open source for absolutely anyone to go and check it. Now, that is talking about in lines of what Bitcoin is, as well as aligning with the pillars of open blockchain in my honest opinion. Now the second part of your question does actually hint if I'll go ahead and trust a stablecoin. Now look, I will definitely trust a stablecoin, but in relation to why Bitcoin was created, it does not merge well together, isn't it? Because I've said this thing so many times, stablecoins as such as well as stablecoin issuers, they definitely do not follow the ethos of open blockchain. And in Ray Santoro is a massive advocate of something called as the pillars of open blockchain. That is open source, publicly verifiable, censorship resistant, neutral, borderless, as well as publicly verifiable. Now, a lot of these stablecoin issuers, they can definitely go and censor your transaction, and most of these stablecoins, they are restricted to only a specific border. As a matter of fact, the news that I talked about Deutsche Bank and DWS, they are focusing only on institutions, isn't it? So do they actually work on open blockchain? I definitely don't think so. And because they are regulated, they would also have to do KYC and follow AML and CTF rules as well. Now look, these rules are definitely needed, but when you talk about it in context of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they definitely do not align so far as the ethos of open blockchain is concerned. So that's my answer to that. But yes, I will definitely go and trust Ripple-backed stablecoin. And me personally, I definitely prefer Circle USDC over Tether USDT. Now, Tether USDT is definitely saving lives, particularly in South Asian countries where inflation has definitely been picking up pace. Because a lot of people in the South Asian countries, what they tend to do is, whatever salary that they get, immediately they convert it into Tether USDT. And after a year or so, because it is backed by the US dollar, the value is significantly higher than their own native currency. So Tether USDT definitely has brilliant use cases. You could also make an argument that Tether USDT is definitely saving lives and families as well, but definitely a nice question. And that's about all, guys, of the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays we have Blockchain DXB podcast, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the process. We look at the geopolitical news, and we also talk about news that is indirectly connected to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We also take a deep dive into different partnerships in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain. We also go and discuss the narratives such as tokenization of stablecoins. And then we look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East, particularly in the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, even artificial intelligence. And we also take a deep dive into the latest technological development from Dubai, UAE, and Middle East. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.